All right, Huge Movie Fanatics here, coming back with another fantastic, not a trailer, not a movie, but just a film-related topic.
Film discussion.
A film discussion, a film-related topic discussion, which is, recently I watched, I got the Thin Man series box set, which comes with like another DVD about just the lives of course, old movies you can't interview any of the actual people and part of making it. So what they do for a making of documentary about old movies where everyone's dead is they get together a bunch of film historians, and I just wanted to talk about what Matt thinks and also what I think, the idea of a film historian and what exactly, it never occurred to me necessarily, or not that on a conscious level until I watched that recently within the last month or so, that I just, every time I see see them pop up and I see the word film historian, I kind of go, well, what the hell, like, is a film historian, and is it their job? What do you know? Is it their job? Or there was this one girl who's probably like 28 who came up, and like, film historian 28, and it's just like, I mean, I don't know her age, but she seemed 28. And it's just like a lot of the film historians are just like Leonard Maltin or something,
Yeah,
or they're
pretty much,
old men.
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, or these professor types, and it's just like, okay, so now a 28-year-old kid's a film historian. It's like, at what point, because we know a lot about movies, so at what point, I guess that's my question, is when does someone become where you can go on a fucking documentary, a goddamn documentary, and be called a film historian? Like, what's your take on that? When do you get to be able to be called?
I think it's an actual profession that you can, like.
So do you go to film historian school? But how much do you need to know?
I have a friend who's interested in that, and she's
being a film historian.
What is she? She's 22, maybe 21.
She's interested,
but she knows far more than I do about early film. Like, I mean, that's where her interests lie.
Okay.
And her goal is to have the entire Criterion collection on DVD or Blu-ray or Laserdisc, and she has a majority of it. Like, that's just her thing. And she's like way into all these things, and she goes to school for it, and it's like, awesome, that is really cool. But so she could be that like 28-year-old that you're talking about
in a video.
Yeah.
So my question, go ahead.
But I don't know. Like, I mean, it's people who study very closely film. You probably have to go to specific film schools to become a film historian and work in a museum of film and stuff like that. If you go to LA, probably New York, or the Smithsonian, you have a job. But I think it's probably a limited job.
What do you do?
I mean,
you go to work 5 days a week, 9 to 5, and do what?
You probably try to uncover old films or original prints and stuff like that. I know that, like, I'm sure there are people to this day who are trying to track down the lost scenes of King Kong. I mean, that's because whoever finds that is a billionaire. The lost spider.
Spider pit?
Yeah.
well, if it exists.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. Like,
and there's also stuff caught out of Miss Magnificent Ambersons, if you know about that.
Yeah.
It's the Orson Welles' second movie that
Yeah.
is thought to be one of the, the great treasures of if they could find. So, okay.
And there's scenes that have been lost forever from Bride of Frankenstein, where he actually gets crucified
shit.
and stuff, and like that. Like, that's what a film historian does. I guess they're like an Indiana Jones type who are trying to uncover lost film and stuff. But they also study on a scholarly level, probably like write lots of essays and stuff like that. But I don't know necessarily what they do, or it's probably something that had much more relevancy before the internet really took off.
Right.
And once the internet took off,
now
everybody's a film scholar. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know just as much about Quentin Tarantino as you do. I've seen all of his movies, listened to all of his commentaries, and seen every deleted scene and special features. He did in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, he did.
And Pulp Fiction, I want to say maybe. Not Pulp Fiction?
No.
He definitely did it for Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
And it's the most boring commentary I've ever heard. My God, it's him with the entire cast, and Jesus God.
How is it? What's boring about it?
They're like, yeah. So then it's just like straightforward. Like, in this scene, we just decided this is the level that Agent Pink is working at. He's trying to just think, and it's like, I watched the movie, I know what he was thinking, I know what he was doing. Like,
You know, I didn't listen to all of it, but some of the commentary Exorcist by William Friedkin.
I listened to that. My God,
That's what it
tedious.
is. You know how when they have some of the DVDs have actual description
Yeah.
of, you know, like for the deaf, for the
Yeah.
blind. I mean,
Yeah,
and
essentially.
that's what it is.
And that's what Reservoir Dogs is kind of like. The only part that was interesting at all in the Reservoir Dogs commentary is at the end of the movie when you've seen Reservoir Dogs, right? Where Agent Orange, Mr. Orange. Sorry, Agent. Mr. Orange is dying in Mr. White's lap. And he confesses that he was the rat. He was the one that did it. And then they're both sort of like crying and screaming. And then he puts the gun to the head, and Orange is basically asking for him to shoot him and whatnot. And that's why he's confessing that he was the one that screwed everybody.
Oh, by
up.
the way, spoiler
Spoiler
alert.
alert. Anyway, so like that, and Tarantino explains that, and he's like, this is something that a lot of people just don't understand, because this is a very Japanese concept. The concept of, there's not even a word for it. I guess the closest you'd be able to find is like honor, right? And that's my Tarantino. But anyway, like he's like, the closest in America would be like, in the English language would be honor. It's the reason he kills him is because of a sense of honor. But the word is jini, and it's something that we can't even conceive of here in the United States. But in Japan, there's a common phrase, and it's called jini. And he goes on to try to describe it, and like that's the only part of the commentary that's worthwhile. I prefer commentaries that are more informative on the like backgrounds and making of the scenes, or maybe like the writer talking about maybe the things that are underlying or something like that. Not necessarily like, my motivation for this scene as an actor was, I was supposed to cry, so I thought about when my puppy died when I was 4. And it's just like, my God, on a separate little tangent, there's this great video on Funny or Die, I believe, where James Franco is teaching his younger brother how to act. And it's acting lessons, and he's teaching his brother how to cry. And that's the example he uses. He's like, whenever I have to cry, I just think about our puppy died when I was 8, and he's like, so just think about that and cry. And then he's like, well, you're older than me. I was 2 when she died. I don't remember. And he's like, what? It's still a dog. It's a life. It should make you cry. And he's like, well, it doesn't make me cry. And then he's like, well, it better make you cry. And they just start. It's really funny. It's hysterical. Check it out. James Franco acting lessons. It's hysterical. Anyway, so film historian.
Film historians.
I don't have much to say about that. I mean, it's sometimes
take.
they're interesting, so to listen to, especially like Bride of Frankenstein one was really fascinating, and that super doc. But
another thing that's boring to me is when like sometimes Criterion will come out with old movies, and they'll have commentary by film historians. I've probably tried to listen to maybe a few minutes of once, and it's just the idea that someone that got no connection to the movie. But I guess it's better. I guess Criterion's idea is it's better than nothing.
it is. I mean, sometimes I like it, sometimes I'm bored to tears. I liked the ones from the directors, or the historian's commentary to Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. That is fantastic. Other than that, that's the only film historian one that I've listened to and have been super impressed with. If you know of one that's really impressive, like commentary that's really impressive,
film historian commentary.
Leave the message. Which one impressed you? Yeah.
One thing that I think is kind of lame is when film buffs and historians are commentating on a movie, and then like this part is so great. Watch this. And it's just like give it a rest, you dumbass.
Yeah.
Shut up. I'm in love with this part. Watch this. Rewind it. It wasn't that great. Just, I don't know, I guess it's just my personality, but so I kind of partially have this, I don't know, this weird feeling about film historians, almost like, what the fuck are you? It's just a weird hatred, not a hatred, just I don't know. So I just, when I watched it, that occurred to me, that would be a good topic for an off-trailer topic to discuss with you, so.
Unfortunately, I didn't have a huge amount to say
Well,
about
you had
it.
some insight about what you said and your friend and go to school, and what's interesting to me is like, we know a lot about movies, and at what point, I guess that's my question, at what point do you become a film
I
historian.
could probably be a film historian on certain
aspects.
certain movies
Yeah, but
or
aren't
something like
all
that.
film historians about certain aspects? I mean,
sure, yeah.
not every one knows everything about
Yeah,
movies.
I mean, you could probably be like the 80s slasher film historian.
I
mean,
could be
that.
like, yeah, if I was gonna be one, I'd be, but I do actually know a lot about like Charlie Chaplin movies,
Mm-hmm.
some early ones as well, but I'm, pretty well versed in, what would you say, I'm pretty well versed in 80s slasher, what would you say if you were a film historian, that you had a genre you would be?
Probably either the slasher world or the modern superhero movies, because I know a ton about that, but pretty much
Yeah.
every modern person my age is way into
I was
that
just
kind
gonna
of
say
thing,
that without insulting you, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
it's like-
anyone's a modern superhero.
Yeah, pretty much. But
historian.
yeah, it's a little more than that because I do know more of the
Right.
comics that they're based on to some extent. But anyway, yeah.
All right, well, I wanted to talk about that, and I guess we did, so thank you very much for watching, thanks for your input. Thanks for putting up with that.
I know, it's all good. I'm sorry I didn't have more to contribute.
No, I think what you contributed was fine, I was just interested to know what your take was.
There you go.
There it is. Thanks for watching, we'll see you at the movies.